you can bring the email up, and maybe, how about Bob? You know, Bob, someone who was here is leaving tomorrow morning at 5, and that means I have to wake up and let them through the gate. A woman named Vida, she's Latvian. Do you recall her?
Oh yeah, yeah,
She hasn't been here in 30 years. She lives in Boise, Idaho. But anyway,
yeah,
I
yeah.
thought,
She lived in the Denver area for a long time. I know Vida, and then she moved out to Boise a couple of
yeah,
years ago. So yeah. Oh, good, good. Well, I'm glad she's there.
yeah, after many years. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. So, okay. Topic when we're feeling uninspired, what to do? Dear folks of Baba, in struggling for a topic for this Sunday, I felt uninspired and hoped that Baba would provide one. A day went by with no word, but on the second day, still uninspired, Baba flashed this as a topic. What do we do when we feel uninspired? That is, we know Baba is here with us, but we are sometimes caught in an uninspired limbo, neither fully content resting in Him nor doing something with Him. What I did in my situation was to lie down and say His name for hours, filling in the time until something inspiring emerged. And this topic eventually made itself known. What do you do in your life with Baba when you find yourself down to the pilot light? No initiative, no inspiration, when nothing seems appealing. For people here in Myrtle Beach, a trip to the center can usually be the solution. Baba rewards that effort often with a renewed vitality or conversation that elevates or a rich silence within that has a life of its own. For others, it might be getting together with grandchildren who give us a sense of loving purpose. Even a trip to the grocery store may lift us out of aimlessly spinning our wheels at home and awaken Baba's active presence. Reading a book of Rumi poetry can sometimes catapult one out of the doldrums. A much needed vacation can definitely regenerate our inner vitality with Baba. What approaches work for you? What activity or preoccupation can you lose yourself in? Erich once said to a buddy and me when we were young, in the beginning, it's important to remember Baba, to repeat his name, read his books, watch the movies, and go where he has been. But eventually, it becomes equally important to forget yourself. If you lose yourself in what you are doing, Baba can live through you, even if you are not aware of it. Lose yourself in your activities or work, and when you come out of the absorption, remember Baba. When you remember to remember, remember him. There is something renewing in losing ourselves in things, especially when we are wholehearted and one pointed. And as Eric said, that can be a form of remembering our beloved. So put on your work clothes, grab a towel and pruners, and head out into the natural beauty of your garden. Hopefully, hearing about your unique approaches to enlivening Baba and your within and in your outer activities will inspire the rest of us with new approaches. In his love, Jeff.
Mm.
oh, anyone feel like venturing out?
Oh, no, 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 no.
Hey,
Go ahead.
so Marion, you're up.
Hi, thank you. I was fumbling around here trying to escape, and my hand kept staying up. So I guess I'll go ahead. Okay, I'll
You
jump
can.
in. You know, um, well, what I do now compared to what I did decades ago, of course, is very different. So I'll speak from right now, and that is, um, I call it, being on the wagon. My is saying Baba's name, getting in the morning, saying my prayers in the morning, saying Baba's name, breathing, conscious breathing. And then I see that's kind of being on the wagon, being aligned. And my wagon is like a hay wagon with horses pulling it. Like when I was a teenager, we used to go for hay rides. And so sometimes I fall off the hay, slide off, and there are friends still up there. But the horse is going clippity clop so slow, I can run up the road and get on, and everybody pulls me on again. So that's a metaphor for connecting with other like-minded people. And that's very important for me. And there aren't a lot of them around, so we don't have Mayor Baba House meetings anymore, New York City. So it's finding like-minded people where I can open my heart and the of what's going on with me and get support. And the other is I have with me every day a to-do list. It's all the things I got to do during the day, go grocery shopping, whatever. But across the top is my toolbox, because I can get caught up in doing. And the balance of the act of doing is receptive, taking in. It's like that's the rhythm of the planet. We expand and contract, expand and contract. It's our heart rhythm, expand, contract, rest. It's our breathing, expand, come in and rest. So I try to follow that movement, and I have a certain breathing consciousness that I do. Then I notice when I'm all caught up, either in what I'm going to do ahead or I'm redoing the past. I'm going over all my conversations I've had with people and redoing them. So I look better than I did in the conversation. So I have things I do is Baba's name, of course, and and then, but when the mind chatter comes in so strongly, I have certain teachers have given me exercises which really work for me. And one is, it's called a mirror exercise. Robert Holden did this, standing in front of my mirror, looking at it and saying, I love you, Marion, I really love you. Oh, Marion, I love you. I really love you. Marion, I really love you. And like the eyes are the window to the soul. So when I'm looking in the mirror doing that, I'm not doing anything, I'm allowing. And the person who gave this to me, Robert Holden, said, do this, for 1 minute, 4 times a day, and you'll see a shift in energy. And so I'll do that one. And then I do emotional freedom tapping. That's tapping out the cellular memories, and where I have a setup phrase that even though I'm feeling really scared today, I deeply and completely love and accept myself as I am right now, and tapping out on all the points for emotional freedom tapping. And that really releases the cellular memory, the memory that's stored in my cells, not up here in my thinking. I only notice it by a shift in my energy during the day where I might feel down or sad or scared. And then I do, was given to me also, I look out, this was by an Abraham Hicks exercise. I look out my window. I'm on the 6th floor of an apartment building in New York City. So I look out at the sky and I speak to Baba. I say, whatever I'm doing today, whoever I'm doing it with, I will know that you're right there with me. And then I rapidly say, with no hesitation, you're right there with me, protecting me, loving me, guiding me, inspiring me, as fast. So nothing else can come in. It's like a program. And then I'm looking out at the sky, and then I say to Baba, thank you, Baba. Thank you, dear Lord. And so I have just things like that. And then having some fun. Central Park is my haven. As Baba said, the most direct connection with the divine is nature and the arts. So I try to go to Central Park every day when it's nice weather and sit on a rock and get my shoes off, get my feet on Mother Earth, hug some trees, release anything negative that needs to be healed down into Mother Earth, and bring in through Father Sky the healing nature that I'm here as a transformer on this planet. And so there's other things. And having some kind of, I like to draw and paint. And so I'll do a little drawing, and even if I'm copying little cartoons, whatever it is, it doesn't have to be a big project. So I'll end with that. It's things like that that bring me to my center, keep me breathing, keep me connected to my core. And I fall off the wagon a lot, but I call these the tools in my toolbox. They get me back on. So that I'll end with that.
Fantastic. And it's hard to imagine you'd be very uninspired at any time with all of those tools, to kind of uh,
I fall off, but my metaphor of being on a hay wagon, like when I was a
yeah,
teenager, is that when I fall off this hay wagon, I don't fall on the dirt road and then roll down a hill into a mud puddle. Now in my life, when I fall off, I go onto the road and I can catch up really fast and run after this hay wagon, and others will pull me up. So that's my metaphor. Whereas many years ago, I'd be down slogging around in the mud down off of a hill when I'd fall off the hay wagon. So I'm more centered, a little more steady now.
yeah, beautiful. Wow, yeah. We all have like a repertoire of things that bump our energy up, our vitality. Anyone else to venture out? Let's see. Oh, okay.
Bob.
Yeah, it- one part of your letter, Jeff, really got me to thinking. It was Erich's message about lose yourself in your activities or work. And when you come out of the absorption, remember Baba. And I thought, oh, that makes a lot of sense because I would one of the ways that especially when I'm feeling inertia and I just can't get connected and I just you know, I put the leash on the dog and I go out for a walk and I meet neighbors and I meet people. Many times people I don't know and many times people that I do know. And I'm walking around and I'm repeating Baba's name, but when I meet somebody, I forget about repeating Baba's name because I'm engaged in a conversation. And maybe it's somebody who also has a dog. So we let the dogs meet each other. And then we have a little chat and we kind of get to know each other a little bit. And I'm not thinking about Baba. And I used to sort of berate myself about that. Why can't I remember that I'm really talking to Baba instead of this other person? Well, it doesn't work that way for me. I'm engaged in meeting a person and kind of getting to know them a little bit and enjoying the conversation and watching the dogs get to know each other. And then when we say goodbye, then I remember Baba. And it's, it's quite nice. I really have come to feel good about the way that works. So I'll, I'll stop.
Fantastic. Yeah. No, I find it very helpful, to lose yourself in things and not feel that you're forgetting Baba in doing so. That was immensely helpful to me. This is back in the 70s when he said that. Yeah, because see, like in India, there are a lot of people that have computer jobs, and I mean they are like over a computer endlessly, and like, where's the time to think of Baba? But that Baba can use that focus and work through them even if they're not aware of that. And that's a great relief because these jobs are so mentally demanding that you can feel like you're wasting time of not focusing on Baba. Okay, anybody else? I see there's a really lively bunch. I guess, you're all uninspired. No, it's not by chance that I wrote that, I guess. No. Um,
Challenge is in force, is active.
I mean, Tony's often, he's not a man to be tongue-tied. Oh, he's raising his hand.
Tony, Tony, you are on mute.
Yeah, okay. When I'm inspired, I put my mic on. Uninspired, whatever. Um, When I'm feeling uninspired, I don't take it for granted of being inspired, although I often am, but I'm not right now. And so what I'm doing right now is just accepting that I'm not feeling very inspired. I'm feeling a little down. I'm feeling a little weary. I've had some dreams that have been for a while now uncomfortable, and I don't know what to make of them, and I don't really take the time to write them down where I could probably make sense of them. Um, for better or for worse, I'm just accepting this is where I'm at right now, and it doesn't prevent me from taking Baba's name or remembering Baba or singing his prayer or but sometimes I feel it's kind of like depressed, like I just don't want to do anything lately. We went through a long time where my daughter, um, has been having a rough time, really going back to October, but particularly in the last month. And we've had to put her back on some meds that we had gotten her off of. But she was not sleeping at all, so none of us were sleeping, really. And and I think some of my dreams that have been not just dreams, it's like being uncomfortable while asleep. I think I've been picking up her whatever is bugging her. It could be, it could be Gaza, for God's sake. She's definitely more in tune than most of us. Um, but then I'll tune into something on Facebook and start writing something. I feel inspired to write in response to something I'm reading, and something else, and then I do feel inspired, but I don't have much control over it. If I just kind of like go from moment to moment when it's like that. No big solutions here except accepting what is. Uh, I don't know. Who
Yeah.
said you always have to be up and inspired all the time? I don't
Yeah.
quite get that. I like it,
Yeah.
but I don't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
well expressed, really. I mean, and the accepting that you're not inspired is a is a valuable thing to do.
I think
Yeah.
inspiration is it's a very high state of being that we all have the pleasure of enjoying from time to time, but I don't think it's a given that we have to be inspired. I mean, I
Yeah.
consider it as a writer, as a musician, it's like it's a thing when you're feeling inspired. It's a magnificent thing, but you don't walk around like that all the time.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah.
Christina.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you, Jeff, you mentioning that, people with demanding jobs can feel uninspired sometimes, which is, I think, true for me. I have a pretty demanding job. And so um, when I'm not working, I'm recuperating from it. And one thing that I love to do when I don't have a lot of mental energy or physical energy is I like to go back to old Baba talks that are um, thankfully online through YouTube. And there's just some wonderful talks from um, like Phyllis Frederick. Her talks are in Southern California back in the 70s and 80s. There's many of those online. And I just kind of sit and listen to it. It always just brings me so much joy. There's a feeling of familiarity. I grew up in the Los Angeles Baba group. So a lot of those talks were happening when I was a kid running around, not paying attention. And it's wonderful to go back and hear the people I grew up with and actually listen to the talk that was happening while I was playing with the other kids, the LA Baba group. So that's something that I really do, and I always find that it lifts my spirits and um, gives me energy. Yeah. So there's talks from Erich and Bao and so many people have recorded talks over the years. It's just a wonderful resource. So that's something I can
Yeah.
do, recharge and feel inspired again.
Yeah, and the amazing thing, like I'll see a talk by Erich or Mani, and it's just like being there in Mandalay Hall. I mean,
It
it's like,
is. Yeah.
how could this be? How could
Yeah,
it be? But
it really
it's
is.
no different from when I was there and experienced these things in person.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
you get that same lift, that same energy. It's wonderful. And
Yeah.
um yeah, I've gone through a lot of talks, and it's been just a great thing to do.
Yeah.
It definitely feels like it lifts me and reconnects me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. I've listened to some of the late night chats as well, which is how I found this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of, slightly, some real characters, on these late night chats.
Ron.
Yeah, I have a couple of examples, but I did want to say that one thing that brings me great joy is remembering being at those LA Sahabas and watching Christina and her brothers and sisters and my kids and all these kids running around and enjoying themselves and so well behaved. It is such a joy, a pleasure. It was special. They were somehow in Baba's energy just got them to have so much innocent fun. Anyhow, that was great to witness and to remember it.
It was mostly innocent, Ron. Mostly.
Mostly, well, I didn't see the
Mostly.
part
Yeah.
that wasn't. That was underground. Yeah, you went into that other room, that little hall or something, and got into trouble. I'm sure that somebody did. But the two things I wanted to say was in relation to remembering Baba uh, in what you're doing, or not remembering Baba what you're doing, but focusing on what you're doing, so that you sort of lose yourself. But I was thinking of Adi Keirani. Somebody asked him uh, how he thinks of Baba when he's so busy doing this work that he used to do back in the 70s, checking people in, registering people, and getting some money for this, or he did all of that in the early days. And somebody asked him, so how are you able to keep remembering Baba through this? He says, well, I'm not remembering Baba consciously. I'm conscious of the work, so I do it properly and accurately. No, Baba is at the back of my mind, he said. He's always there at the back of my mind. If he needs to step forward, then he does that. But while I'm taking care of my worldly responsibilities, then I don't need to be thinking that I have to be remembering Baba in some manner. He takes care of me at that time. And then the other example, which is sort of similar, I don't know, maybe not, but I remember in 1979 when Josephine Esther Ross came for the first time to Myrtle Beach and stayed on the center. And when she arrived, um, I don't think she said this to me, but she said to Bob and Jane Brown, may have picked her up at the bus station, and so they asked Josephine, said, Josephine, you had this layover in wherever it was. She says, it was like a 2-hour layover. So was this a good opportunity to, meditate and think of Baba? And she goes, no, I didn't do that. I went to the bar and had a cocktail and watched TV. So, you know, it, if it makes you happy, that's what Baba wants, right? Be happy, don't worry. We don't have to pressure ourselves to
Yeah.
have something.
Yeah. In fact, he said I know, to Wendy and to I think it was Jenny LePage. You know, what would please me is to keep yourself happy. Then Baba's relieved of that responsibility. If we can find happiness within ourselves, then he doesn't have to uh, work so hard, so to speak. But anyway,
Gail, Gail,
Um, these days, what I do is learn a new Baba song. Now, that might mean that I pull out my hymnal and Baba-ify it or Baba-ize it. Um, so I do that. I have a couple of Nan's songbook is phenomenal. So I'll look at that. I'll listen. I'll jot down during the day. I have on my phone, if I hear some music that I think would be a good Baba song, and obviously, or maybe everybody doesn't know, but I go to Arti a lot, so we sing. And, so that's kind of my go-to is to because I get real engrossed in that, and I'm thinking about Baba. I'm thinking about the fact that this is a Ward Park song. It's already a Baba song, or it's a song that I'm translating, or I might not have to change anything, or I might leave it. I mean, I'm going to leave out the verses that talk about sin and stuff, So I'm thinking Baba, and it's just that's my deal. Thanks.
yeah, beautiful. Yeah, we don't have to be helpless in this.
Tina,
I say the prayers every day out loud, and I ask Baba to help me get through the day. That's all I do.
Yeah. And Baba said that he is with you when you say the prayers. So I know in my own experience how I feel before the prayers and how I feel after is markedly different. It changes the whole tenor of my day. Just
I
saying the
don't
prayers.
notice that so
Yep.
much,
Uh-huh.
but I'm on the path.
Yeah, beautiful. And you got the right behind you there too.
Yeah.
Ralph,
Hey, Ralph.
Yeah, saying the prayers. Whether I feel uplifted afterward or maybe say I'm in a hurry, it it does make a difference in the overall attitude. Or Baba had a big word in the new life that everyone should guard themselves regarding moodiness, to be on the look, to be aware of the getting into, to not get into a mood, and then be influenced and fall victim to it, and maybe complain or break a rule of the new life. And like Jeff likes to feel it flow. If it's flowing, if Jeff's flowing good, well, and from time to time, or how's the flow? How's it flowing, Jeff?
It's
And
flowing all right. With all of you folks there, how could I not flow?
directly related to mood, I think. Yeah, flow,
Yeah.
mood is going to be big influence on.
Yeah, during the New Life, Baba said we had to become, they had to become Lord and Masters of their face. Lord and Masters of your face. Okay, anyone else?
Rich.
It's a remarkable coincidence, but I've had a major one of those days today. Usually I can find something. I need to externalize my energy. It's real important for me to go out and meet the world. So I've had this infinitely ongoing yard project in the front of my house, eliminating a very devious form of a weed. It's just like your sanskars, goes underground, and then it pops up and shows its head. Then it travels across the ways and goes underground, and it will take over your yard if you were unaware. So I've been working on that even through the hot weather for like 3 months, but I'm almost done with that because I'm kind of tired of it. And I'd done a bunch of weeds yesterday, and today it was like I had nothing on the agenda to go meet the world. That's not good for me. I don't work well like that. I need to do anything at all. Like you said, Jeff, in your note, grocery shopping. I love meeting the people going to grocery. There's a Sprouts in Junction now, and it's sort of a California store. And it's always humming with a vibrant activity of tomato looking and cantaloupe searching and, whatever's going on. And that just makes me feel like I'm alive too in this world. This is one of the dilemmas of not having a job, to be honest about it, for me. But so I'm thanking you all, because all I have is to come to the Arti or Sunday night with Jeff and seeing all you speak up. And that does me more good than I'm capable of explaining. Thank you.
Yeah. And then you can kind of select among the potatoes. But okay.
Dan.
Or amongst the fruit. So I thought I'd raise my hand. It's really hot here in LA, and it's been hot, and it totally zaps my energy. So thinking about what inspires me, I want to say, if I had a swimming pool, I might have a conversation about what inspires me. It's really, so I'm trying to be present for this. And Rich said something that spoke to me, and that is, I'm externally motivated. I have jealousy about people who are self-motivated so strongly, and that both their work, their actions, their spirituality. I got turned on to Baba in 2013, but it wasn't until 2020 with Baba Zoom did it really get into me. And that was 7 years of going to the LA Center a lot, because I kept acting as if. But there was something about being taught all these tools, if you will, whether it's, saying Baba's name at 12 and 5, and how we get up in the morning and saying his name throughout the day. And just all of these helpful hints about how to navigate. And it is an interesting thing. We are going into our 3rd month of jubilation, retirement. And we have both given ourselves, I'm speaking for Terry, she's right here, so she can tell me if I'm wrong. We've given ourselves permission to not be productive, to not feel like we've both been working since we were 14 years old, chasing the taskmaster. And we don't have to do that right now. And we're allowing ourselves to say that's okay. And so a lot of times I'll say to her, your job today is to relax. That's the priority right now. And because we both need to rebuild. She needs to rebuild her knee. I got my own mishigas. And if anybody doesn't know what that means, I'm happy to give a Yiddish lesson. It means I've got my own craziness.
But you haven't been retired for 3 months, 3 weeks, isn't it?
No, since the beginning of July. So all of July, all of August. So we're now in September.
Okay.
We're going into our 3rd month.
Yeah. And I called her up this morning, and they were both
that
still in
helped.
bed.
And it was 9:30 LA time.
I couldn't believe it. I mean, Bob made me do it. I mean, just to make sure they get going there in the morning.
Well, we gave you the wrong impression because I would get out of bed when you got out of bed, and I totally gave you the wrong impression, but I knew I needed to. You inspired me so much. I needed to lap up every part.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I'm really
Tony,
glad
I'd
you
like
guys are.
Moron threw the clock out the window on your retirement.
Yeah.
What's that?
The little moron threw the clock out the window when you retired.
Yeah.
The time started to fly.
Yeah.
I don't
Yep.
know. Jeff, what did he say? I didn't understand it. You
Oh,
said-
he's saying, why did the moron throw the clock out the window? Because he wanted to see time fly. So
What
time
I
flies
said
when you're.
was, what I said, Diane, was when you retired, the little moron said, "Oh, he threw a clock out the window so time would fly."
Yeah.
So that
And
was
it-
a joke. That was a joke from my 3rd birthday party, which my father recorded. And apropos of nothing, what did the big firecracker say to the little firecracker?
Pow pow.
My pop is bigger than your pop.
Yeah. Hey, Peter put something in the chat. There's a beautiful song by Bobby Bernstein on "You Inspire Me." Peter, are you able to set that up where you could play it for us? Whoop. I don't hear from. Hey, Peter. No. Anyway, anyone else want to come forward? Maybe I'll say something. I would say of all the things that I rely upon for my vitality and aliveness over the years has been the inner repetition of Baba's name. And I have no idea why it became so central to my life. I mean, I don't remember in the early years anybody telling me about its importance. I mean, this was back in the 60s. Somehow, a lot of these messages hadn't surfaced yet. But I do remember this. Back in 1970, Margie and Adi came to this country. And I was with them. And at one point, as I was about to embrace Margie, the thought came to me, I wonder if he says Baba's name inwardly. And then immediately on embracing him, there was like an explosion of Baba's name inside of me, like thousandfold, so powerfully. And I took that as my instant answer. He must have been saying Baba's name inwardly as a part of his practice. But I was very fortunate that that Baba's heart name flowed and emanated from my heart and not my head. I mean, some people have to start up in your head, and Baba says that even if you start out mechanically, it'll eventually sink down into your heart, and then it acquires so much more substance, you know. So, and what I found over the years is that when my energy drops to a certain level, Baba's name starts up automatically. It's like if you leave a refrigerator door open for a few minutes, suddenly the engine will start, the motor will start up, and that's kind of the way it has been for me. But Erich was really, when I was young, he really urged me to tune into where my inner vitality, where am I at with that? and to make efforts to not just become a victim of a lowered state of energy. And Darwin used to emphasize the importance of maintaining your momentum and avoid falling into a spiritual inertia that often happens, almost invisibly. So, but when my vitality is at high tide, all the boats in my marina are lifted up, you know. But then there are certain things that I do. I have a whole repertoire, like the rest of you have mentioned, of of getting me out of a certain rut. For example, you know, reading, of course, Baba books, reading Rumi and Hafiz, conversations with others about this life with Baba is always somehow Baba comes in there, and that makes all of the difference. And of course, over the years, I've been into sports. I have a garden that I was much more dedicated to. It's more like like a miniature botanical garden on this little lake. And so just the preoccupation of being out in the garden is so centering and vivifying or whatever, renewing. But also playing with kids has been some of the it just uh, always unfailingly lifts me up. So, you know, I don't hesitate in, besides saying, focusing on Baba inwardly and saying his name, also I just take full advantage of the wholesome pleasures that this world offers. And, you know, so anyway, that's a little bit of what I do, which is kind of reflected in much of what you folks have said. Yeah. Oh, good.
Ina?
I also forgot that I read the daily word every day and I send a prayer request.
This is, you mean
The Unity Daily Word.
oh, I got it. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I know Jean Shaw was very much into that. Darwin's wife. Yeah,
She was.
yeah.
It
Because back
tells.
then, when they were into Bob early on in the 30s, there weren't all these things that we have on, you know, on the computers. They took advantage of any kind of inspiring publications.
Yes, they always answer me and they say they're praying for me.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Tony?
Yeah, you know, it often happens when I share something, and then at some part of my mind says, "Is that really true? Are you really doing that?" And so I just shared about just kind of, you know, accepting what is, and you know, I'm not feeling inspired, and but it occurs to me that when I'm not feeling, I guess inspired is not as a broad enough word for what I'm thinking of, but not feeling like on top of things. Um, it's because I'm not accepting myself. And something what Diane was saying about work and retirement, um, I work really, really hard. I enjoy working. I would, especially when I was at the UN. I worked sometimes 7 days a week and sometimes around the clock. And it felt it was meaningful. I didn't want to be there. I wanted to be doing my creative work. But the work in front of me was there, and but now since 2012, I've had the opportunity to focus on my creative work. And I find that I keep creating, but not putting it out, not sharing it, not in any percentage compared to what I'm putting out. And I most recently, about not accepting myself, we had to I had to clear out this room, all of my books, and take everything out of the book. I had a massive project because the floor was going to be cleaned because of an insurance settlement over a ceiling fell in, and it was so much hard work, just physical labor, getting these books and boxes labeled and everything. We went away for a week. They paid for us to go away. Talk about Bob of taking care. Came back, it was weeks and weeks to get these books into bookshelves and to get some of these papers organized, and my life is way, way better than it was before all this. But I have no pressure now to keep it going. And I find myself just like, okay, that's enough. And I'm not happy with not completing the task. But there is nothing pushing me to do it now. There's no, and then I'm getting on my case about that. And sometimes I don't, and I talk to Baba, and there are all these ways we relate to Baba with something like something comes up, and then suddenly I'm like, oh, okay, and I start doing it. But then I slip into another cycle, and I don't want to do it, but I'm not happy that I'm not doing it. It's the lack of, if you want to call it inspiration, is from a lack of self. I talked about self accepting what is, but I find it's when there's a lack of self acceptance on a deeper level, and not just accepting Baba's wish and will. When I remember to say, Baba, what do you want me to do right now? Everything's fine.
Yeah, beautifully, really beautifully expressed. And I mean, what you're expressing there is part of my life, and I'm sure all of us were coming up against that. Yeah.
Christina.
Jeff, I was wondering if you could expand a little bit more on what Darwin meant by preventing spiritual inertia.
Yeah. Well, let me see. It's, I mean, I mean, he put a real emphasis on focusing on your momentum and your inner momentum, and not just get too so uninspired that you have a hard time getting getting your spiritual momentum going again. You fall into an inertia. I mean, he kind of basically said you can be proactive about dealing with your periods of inertia so that they don't overtake you. I mean, like, for example, if you work way too hard, so that you deplete yourself,
Right.
then you could be more proactive and not doing so much and no more. Basically, you can go through your checking account of energy, but don't dip into your savings account. But, in many professions, your work is so demanding, especially where you're serving others, your conscience can get you to give more than you actually have to give. And so you find yourself in a kind of depleted state, and you kind of find yourself in inertia. So it's very important to monitor how much you give out. It's not a selfish thing. It's you're being true to your inner vitality.
Understood. Oh, thank
Yeah.
you. That was beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
he was a great
Yeah.
help in that. I mean, a lot of these I didn't think about, but Darwin, somehow he had that stuff kind of clear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dan.
I just wanted to say that if you want, I found Bobby's
Ooh, yeah.
song. So if we can do it at the end, or it's like 4 minutes though.
Okay, yeah, because it's a beautiful song. I really, has a touching quality to it, and it's an original song. I thought it was a show tune that she was playing, but it's actually her own. Okay, we're going to go to Nanaimo. I was out there. I knew I wasn't too far away from you, but I knew I was about 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, was it good?
Oh, it was. This is one of the islands off of Vancouver. This was Galiano. It is an idyllic place. Oh my God.
Yeah. It's so peaceful and just down to earth natural beauty.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was like my childhood. I got to go back in my childhood, and that's the vegetation and the waterways that I grew up with. It was really beautiful. But go ahead.
Yeah, and I mean, talking about inner vitality, that's one thing for me is just, and I missed the beginning, so maybe other people have touched on this, but just going outside or looking outside or something natural and pure, you just get Baba's essence in it. Looking at the sky is helpful for me. It's like the sky being Baba holding everything in it, the clouds, everything floating by, and it's just holding it all, and the sky is always there. Same thing with the earth. So just feeling supported by the earth when you feel stuck, just like laying down and feeling that. And and all these things bring you to the present moment. So I find I struggle as well with this. It's ironic because you feel the spiritual inertia more when you're kind of in this doing mode in Maya. So you're kind of doing a lot and moving, trying to get things done, being productive in the illusion world. But inside you feel like stuck and like you're kind of contracted and tight. And so it's interesting how it's like opposites there. So I really noticed that, yeah, when I'm in this human doing mode and I'm like, I need to just stop and be a human being for a moment. And that actually gets the inner vitality rolling again and breaks that inertia. So just doing something non-productive, I find, is what I often need, because you just, whether it's like just, I don't know, playing with rocks on the ground, or just something like being when you're a child, like you're not trying to just get something done, you're not thinking about the future, you're just there. And but yeah, it's interesting how those activities, though, sometimes you can get caught up in your brain again, and it turns into trying to do something and trying to get some sort of output. So I think letting go of that as well, and you're just there whether you do it or not. And really, Baba, like remembering Baba in that is all that matters. And I often tell myself, like, the phrase of Baba saying, like, all you have to worry about is remembering me, like so that in itself is the most productive thing. If I'm remembering Baba, nothing else matters. So it doesn't matter what this ego is trying to accomplish, it's the remembering Baba that's mattered. And that's so comforting to me. It's like, yes, just sitting here and doing nothing and remembering Baba, or playing with rocks or sticks or sand, like that's what matters.
Yeah, beautiful. I mean, just a second. I had a great poem, but my computer's doing something very weird. Very weird. I was going to read this poem. Well, I'll try to locate it, but I don't know what's going on with my computer. But yeah, I mean, I like what you said there, that little children, they're not trying often to accomplish anything in the serious way that adults do. They're just, they're throwing rocks in a lake or something like that, or looking for frogs. No major accomplishment in the worldly sense. And we sometimes don't do enough of that.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I'll read that poem when I get to it, but I don't know if you folks ever have this thing where stuff keeps coming up on your screen, just like endless things. Well, anyway, go ahead. That's I won't take any more time. Anyone else?
Jeff, you could reboot, which means you go off the screen, but
Okay, I'll do that.
it would abort anything happening, and we won't say anything important.
Okay, you take over. Okay, you and Jacima.
Got anything happening in Germany at 4:30 in the morning?
It's nearly 5 and not much is happening. Just trying to stay awake. But when I just, so what do I do? When I'm so sort of bottomed out with my vitality, and I usually go to the garden. But the garden is 10 miles, and on public transport it's nearly 50 minutes to get there. So I don't always have the time to do that. But what really gets me kicked in the bum is I find Mani's there's a 5-minute talk of her online where she describes how she went for her driving lessons and how she passed. And I'm usually in stitches, and that liveliness that she has. I mean, how can you not be inspired after that? Yeah.
That's the one where she drives backwards. through the whole thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. What? Well, Elizabeth, Baba decides Mani has to learn to drive, and then Elizabeth is put in charge of that. And the best thing Mani can do in the car is going backwards. And Elizabeth very kindly says, well, dear, one day you will have to go forward. And I'm thinking that is such a metaphor in spiritual development, however many detours you take, there comes a point when you have to go forward. And then this driving instructor gets presented to her, and everybody says like, oh dear, he's so hard, and nobody ever passes, and and everybody's praying for her and is sending her off in a beautiful dress, and and then the driving instructor says to her, well, can you go backward around that pole and then come back here? And that is the easiest thing for Mani to do. So she goes, zoom, 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 there she is. And he's sort of speechless that she has such control over the car going backwards, and she passes the driving test. But the way she sort of talks about it, it's just wonderful. Find it. If you ever need a boost, find that little clip. So that's it from Germany.
That's a really good one from Germany. Let's see. I'm going to just start calling on people then. So, Marta, you're on my list.
Yeah, so that's a good idea. I think we should call on people more often, actually, because I know everybody has something to say, but people are shy. Well, I feel like if I get uninspired, it doesn't have anything to do with Baba. I mean, it's like my ego gets uninspired or my ego gets excited, but I still am saying Baba's name and thinking of Baba. So I was thinking that when I have felt uninspired, I usually lay down and say Baba's name, and then I go to sleep. So that's the way I take care of it.
I read something today, a Baba story about a guy who was on a scooter, and he hit a thing, and the scooter went that way and he went that way. But he was able to get up and walk, and he was unhurt. And he attributed it to yelling out Baba's name while he was flying through the air. So he was so excited, he went the next day and to tell Baba that, Baba, you performed a miracle. I said your name and I came out unscathed. And Baba said, no, I don't perform miracles. My name does.
Oh,
That's good.
yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, I found that poem or whatever it is. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, but all of a
Yes.
sudden there's so many things coming up on my computer. I can't. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah.
You
I-
inspired me
I
to be
did
funny.
shut down. So it's called Sacred Work. Don't strive so much to complete your worldly affairs. Don't strive in any affair that's not sacred. Otherwise, at the end, you'll be incomplete, your spiritual affairs damaged, and your bread unbaked. The beautifying of your grave isn't done by means of wood and stone and plaster. No, but by digging your grave in spiritual purity and burying your own selfhood in his, and by becoming his dust, buried in love of him, so that from his breath yours may be replenished. I thought that was a very beautiful.
Can you read it again?
Can you read? Yes, read it again.
Wow,
Okay.
Yes,
that's
please.
beautiful.
Please.
I hope I haven't lost it. Okay, yeah. It's called Sacred Work. Don't strive so much to complete your worldly affairs. Don't strive in any affair that's not sacred. Otherwise, at the end, you'll be incomplete, your spiritual affairs damaged, and your bread unbaked. The beautifying of your grave isn't done by means of wood and stone and plaster. No, but by digging your grave in spiritual purity and burying your own selfhood in his, and by becoming his dust, buried in love of him, so that from his breath yours may be replenished. I found that. I don't know where I got it. I found it when I was cleaning out some of my mess. I found that.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Where is it from, Jeff?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know.
No
Wow,
attribution. Yeah.
beautiful, just beautiful.
Did someone get Bobby Bernstein's song? Oh, well, we're going to do that at the end. We're coming up. We're
Tony?
Yeah. So one other thing occurred to me. When Kenmore once said something about how, Baba is the ocean of infinite attributes. So if there is any quality that you feel you're lacking, you can go to Baba and ask him for that quality. And because he's infinitely abundant, infinitely generous if you need that. And my good friend Chuck Mag, I felt at that time I had no sense of humor. And my good friend Chuck Magro was the funniest guy I'd ever met. And at some point, I just said, Baba, I'm coming to you for a sense of humor. I really could use a sense of humor because I don't have one. And over the years, it became very clear to me that Baba has answered that prayer, and it gets better and better and better. And it's one of the things I'm most grateful for. It reminds me again of a quote. Baba Kenmore quoting Baba as saying that people take the world seriously and God lightly, and what's wanted is to take the world lightly and God seriously. And what I find is humor is the most wonderful thing to that end. And I just have to remember to go to that place. There's a certain perspective where you allow yourself to see the humor in things. I described to Chuck the horror of my leaving that group, the society. It was about 6 months after I had left. I contacted people I knew, and I told him the story, and he was laughing hysterically. It was like the funniest thing he had ever heard, and I realized, oh my God, there's a funny side to this. But so I think of that Baba quote also more personally. It's not that one should take the world lightly and God seriously, but one needs to take oneself lightly. If I take myself lightly and allow that sense of humor to come through, nothing can be wrong. Really
Yeah.
speaking, yeah.
And that's that line from Darwin Shaw that I repeat over and over again. Sooner or later, you discover you're nobody. And that is not an unhappy discovery.
Thank you, Emily Dickinson. She has a whole poem on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rich?
Well, speaking of Tony's sense of humor, I've got a joke here. So it turns out that in my youth, I was very comfortable frequenting a certain tavern, and I had good times here, and I was very familiar with the bartender, and he knew what I liked and whatnot. So I just walk in, and he was a well-known poet, but I would just walk in and say, "Ka, ka," and he'd wave at me, and so I would call out, "Ka, beer," and but the funny thing about Kabir was he would always bring wine instead of beer. It was always Always in that tavern, only wine.
Huh.
Did anybody get that joke at all? Okay, never mind.
I
Okay.
got it. Very funny. Very
Oh,
funny.
Come here.
Bob got it.
But
Oh,
did
good, yeah.
But did Kabir get his wine? That's the
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. Well, that's why I keep reading the book. I keep reading the book. So here's another one. I think half of you have heard this one, but so Captain Hook, when he lost his hand, was a pretty severe incident. He got to thinking, I can't live like this. I have to have a utensil. I have to have something. What can I use for a hand? And so it turns out he got the idea. He got the idea of a hook, and then he thought, well, where would I look for a hook? And so got it immediately. He went to the second-hand store.
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
The Salvation Army. Okay, let's have Ronnie, and then we'll have the song at the end. Oh, but one thing that Sonober mentioned is that the uninspired thing can be between activities, between events. You can kind of go into the valley of uninspired, what shall I do? And then, of course, as Americans, it's always, we're always doers. We got to do, you got to do. When you're not doing that, there's something wrong with you. You're backsliding and everything. And it's very hard as, as Anita was saying there, to be, to accept being in a state of being instead of, being a human all the time. And we are addicted to that. India's kind of used to be way over on the other side. They would just kind of sit around and sometimes not do as much as we were accustomed to doing. And they have ability to just be, to just sit. I remember like getting I'd rent a taxi or a rickshaw, and to go out to Merazad. And the rickshaw guy would be there for 4 hours or 5 hours. And he's not even sitting there reading a book or something like that, just sitting there. I mean, incredible. I mean, at least bring a book that you can read for 5 hours. But he was able to just like sit there and do nothing, Anyway, let's go for Ronnie there.
Okay. I just had something that inspired me the last few days. Was watching two of my fellow Baba lovers, longtime Baba lovers, tell their story of how they came to Baba. And I just wanted to give two little anecdotes, because I find somebody's always got something new that I hadn't ever really heard before, a new slant on something or a little anecdote. So I want to give two. This fellow Damien, there's not a lot of Damiens in Baba world probably, but I can't remember how to pronounce his last name. Jeff, how do you?
Trialir.
I still can't remember. What is it?
Trialir.
Okay, I'll try that next time.
Yeah.
Anyhow, Damien said that he was driving in the car with Gene Shaw, and I guess they were giving him a ride back home or something like that. And so when he got out of the car, actually they were all getting out of the car. I guess they were arriving at the center. And so when he closed the car door, he was trying to do it kind of quietly and not be abrupt. So he closed it, but it didn't actually latch. And then Gene grabbed the handle of the car and opened it up and then threw it closed. I mean, not really hard, but so she said, the trick is letting go. And he kind of liked that.
Uh-huh.
The trick is letting go. And, that serves a lot of different situations. And the other one was Clive Adams was telling a story when he went to the last Darshan program. One of the things that they did was they went to Merazad. I think it was on the last day or the next to the last day. So he was at Merazad in Baba's room, and he was bowing down in front of Baba's bed. And there was some guy who said, you know, what's all this bowing down? I mean, these people they hadn't ever seen anybody bow down before, probably, right? So this guy said, what are we going to do? Are they going to make us bow down to the pot that Baba pissed in? And Clive was, you know, he found that rather disconcerting. He didn't really like that idea. But then when they went back out onto the porch, he heard that somebody else was bowing down to some painting that was on the porch or something. And he said it again. He said, are they going to have us bow down to the pot that Baba pissed in? And there was a big dog that used to live there at that time. And that dog immediately ran up onto the porch and pissed right on that guy's feet. Just I mean, exactly timing.
That was Jeff Tangway.
Oh,
He was saying about the pot.
Yeah.
Jeff Tangway.
Good old Jeff Tangway. He straightened out after a while. Okay, so Marcia, and then we'll have. I hope we can play that song. Yeah.
Well, I spend a lot of time looking out the window, and then I realized the other day that I don't really feel guilty about doing nothing because I'm always doing something. So, if I really feel kind of like get up and I don't know what to do, I'll take a shower and I imagine myself being in a waterfall and having Baba's light and love fall on me, you know. And then my other thing, I just go outside and I walk the dog, and so many people like are so happy to see my dog, and I just I'm into the clouds and into trees and nature, and I do a lot of binge watching TV lately, and I'm not feeling bad about that, although it is kind of addicting if you're watching a program and you can watch it for 3 days. So I kind of trying not to do that, but basically I always keep Bob in my mind, and when I'm really feeling weird, I end up cleaning and scrubbing things, making things clean. Like I get into this cleaning thing and sorting stuff. But I'm trying to do not so much stuff all the time. And if I really feel like uninspired, I'll go to my pad of paper and I start writing, and all this stuff comes out. And painting is my favorite thing to do. But I'm learning that I have to learn to ask for help more, you know, like in doing things. Did you ever think you have too much stuff to do? And then I'm wondering why am I doing all this stuff? So then I think, well, maybe I don't have to do anything at all, which feels really good. Anyway, Jay Bob.
Yeah. No, these things, I mean, we're really kind of trying to find this inner being inwardly harmonized, and all these things are part of, getting them just to fit right is a whole kind of spiritual.
Well, basically, Baba wants us to be happy and to be natural, and we're not supposed to be worrying about everything that happens or whatever we do. We just have to, have faith in God, have faith in Baba, and trust. And that's the main thing to me, is like, if I listen to his inner voice and I'm obedient and I don't try to harm anybody. But it's always like walking on a sword. You can do the littlest thing and go off and feel guilty about it. And then that's not like a good thing to do, because that guilt and anger and anxiety, that hurts us. It's sick. And it's especially hard when you have people that live next door to you that come to talk to you, and all they do is talk about all the stuff, that you don't want to hear about. I mean, it's good to know about the world, but I always keep in my mind, don't be in the world, but not of it, and try to detach from that, which is really hard sometimes to I find having difficulty right now with seeing somebody that brings up everything negative, but still feeling empathy for that person and not shutting them off, because I feel like, wow, it's rough. Like, to me, right now, what I'm struggling with is, why does a person believe in Jesus, right? And that's fine, you believe in Jesus, but I believe in Baba. But if everybody would just let everybody believe in what they believe in. And I feel like I made a good choice with Baba, you know? So I think you just have to be tolerant. I have to be more tolerant of people that are afraid. And the fear is contagious, you know? I don't know about any of you. It's like, okay, Jai Baba.
Yeah. Thank you, Marcia. Okay, have you got that song? This is Bobby Bernstein. She lives here in Myrtle Beach, but she used to live up in Albany, New York. And we were having a meeting on the floor of the kitchen in the very place that she came. There was a guy, the roommate of this guy was a therapist, so she went up to see him, and on the way back, she just saw some people sitting around on the floor and you know, singing and all, and that, and she sat down not knowing that it was a Baba meeting. And as a result, she became a lifelong Baba lover.
No, that story.
What was it about?
Bobby, that's a great story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, y'all ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. Oops.
Thought that I was a zero. You've made me into a hero. It's really all the same. But now I'm beginning to enjoy this game. You inspire me to love this life I live. You inspire me to take so I can give. You inspire me to do the best I can. You inspire me to be all that I am. Baba, 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 baba. You're the superhero of this age. What a war of love that you wage. How can anyone dare complain? For God's sake, you smile through human pain. You inspire me to sing this happy song. You inspire me to have courage and be strong. You inspire me to stand up for what is true. You inspire me to put my trust in you. Baba, 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 baba. You're the superhero of this age. What a war of love that you wage. How can anyone dare complain? For God's sake, you smile through human pain.
You inspire me. La, da, 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 da. Hey, so let's have a few moments of silence, and if someone has a quote at the very end, okay. Jai Baba.
Can I end before we do that with something that just came up on my phone?
Yeah,
Especially since it was part of her song.
yeah.
Fear, F-E-A-R, has two meanings. Forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. The choice
Hey,
is
beautiful. Say that
Well,
one again.
fear. Has two meanings. Forget everything and run, or face everything and rise.
there's one more I know for that, which is false evidence appearing real.
That's good too. Wow. Anyway, beautiful
Yes, thank you.
to see all you folks. We'll see what topic come up now. I'm always up for topics, so don't hesitate to come up with
Yes,
some.
can I share a quote?
Sure.
Can I
Yeah.
share a quote?
Excellent. Yeah.
They who are near to me do not know that you are nearer to me than they are. They who speak to me do not know that my heart is full with your unspoken words. They who crowd in my path do not know I'm walking alone with you. They who love me do not know that their love brings you to my heart.
You have to read that again. Whose is that?
Didn't you write that?
Me?
I don't know.
I have no recollection.
I took a picture of it from the computer, but I didn't put who said it.
Yeah, read that
It
again.
looks like a Sufi poem. They who are near to me do not know that you are nearer to me than they are. They who speak to me do not know that my heart is full with your unspoken words. They who crowd in my path do not know I am walking alone with you. And they who love me do not know that their love brings you to my heart.
Wow, that is just beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible.
It's
So
beautiful.
many beautiful camera angles on this relationship with Baba. Superb. Yeah. So, let me, any last minute things that anybody has to say or share?
Janine just arrived.
Yeah. Deneen, she's hiding there in the,
Emmy.
Nita.
yeah. Yeah, but sometime or other, there's a beautiful poem written, really it's about Baba and Mara. I mean, their role in creation, that written by a perfect master from Maharashtra in the 13th century, perfect master. He became perfect at the age of 19. Uh-oh. My computer's doing that same weird thing again. So I've weird. I mean, it flutters, 20 past things that are from somewhere. I don't know where they're coming from. Anyway, now I don't see you guys. You're all left. There you're back. Anyway, we'll see what happens next week. Deborah Hertz there. She was at the center this past week. Oh, we got Deneen. Any words of wisdom from Deneen? Anything?
You're muted.
You're muted, yeah.
Now she's frozen.
Oh, now I'm frozen. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, we hear you.
Yeah.
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 I don't think I have any words of wisdom.
Yeah. Well, we were at the original kitchen today, and there was one fellow who met, he knew of Baba from childhood, and his parents were followers going back to the early 50s. And he, when he was, in junior high, he went to a Christian school. And there, they told him that, Jesus was God. And, he was thinking, but Baba's God. You're telling me that Jesus is God. So he was kind of very confused about that. How can there be two gods? And so he went to Baba. When he was with Baba, he told him that people are saying that Jesus is God. And Baba said, Jesus was God, and I am God now, and we are the same. He was about, just a young kid. Jesus was God, and I am God now, and we're the same. They're beautiful, and it completely satisfied his heart. Yeah. Anyway, I will see all you guys. Much, much love. Love to Terry. And well, we got see who else haven't we? We got Deborah. She was here for a nice lengthy time. Paula, wonderful. She's Anita. Paula there she's in Camino Island, which is part of that whole island system that you are a part of. But it takes a bit to get down to Camino Island. Yeah.
I haven't heard of that one actually.
There's a San Juan and Whidbey Island and Bainbridge Island, and then there's Camino Island. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just down the sound from you.
Awesome. Cool. Well, yeah, if you ever come up to Nanaimo, I'm here.
Anyway, much, much love.
I have a
You
quick
guys.
question. Anahita, did you hurt your arm?
Yes, I did.
Are you okay? Or
Yes, I did,
how's the
yeah.
other guy?
Just recovering from a fractured bone there.
Oh,
Fine.
wow. Yeah, Anita, I happen to, I'm hoping, Bob willing, I'll be there in October.
Yes,
And-
looking
and
forward to see you,
November,
meeting you.
so-
again.
You
Well,
have to. It was the headline of the India Times today.
Yeah. Anita fractures arm while fighting off an intruder in her apartment. Okay, much love. See you guys.
love.
Thank
Bye.
you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Baba.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Baba.
Thank you, Jay Baba.
Bye.
See you, Sabine.